Hey everybody, I wanted to show you a couple more temples that follow the Solomon's temple design. What we find is that over history, this particular temple architecture is used over and over to represent the human body. And that's why we see the certain temples designed the way they are with, say, the Ark of the Covenant or the altar located in a particular location, which is actually the head. And we see that the second larger chamber, which is the chamber of the body, we see that the incense altar is actually located where the heart is located. Now, R.A. Schwaller de Lubitsch, which I pointed out to you before, when he looked at the temple in Man in Luxor, this particular temple right here, what he discovered was that as he went through these particular rooms and he read the hieroglyphs were actually pointing to these specific areas on man's body. And if we take a look at this as compared to the Temple of Solomon, we see that that kind of thing also exists. This is the Temple of Solomon right here. And where you see these particular things, such as the altar, the porch, you see this area that narrows. This is the body area. The heart is located in an area which is where the temple is located. Let me show you something that you can find from ancient Egypt also. In ancient Egypt, the Hall of Osiris that you're probably familiar with. If we take a look at this art right here and we overlay the Solomon's temple on top of it, we can see that the Ark of the Covenant is located in the head. If you see this area right here that's angled down, that's actually where the neck goes. And if you visit templesecrets.info, they have a picture of the Solomon's temple for you as well, the design of Solomon's temple, that shows you how it is like man as well. And I've got a picture of that along with some Hindu temples I've shown you before here. Now this is an actual picture of a Hindu temple, and you can see that they have placed the human body on top of it. The same design is there with the altar. And you see how the design of the temple, and this is with Solomon's temple overlaid on top of it. This is grabbed from templesecrets.info. This right here, which is also a picture of Solomon's temple, which is just a version of what you see right here with the altar and everything. But back to this design, when we overlay, for example, Solomon's temple on top of this, we could see that this is obviously the phallus right here. But if you see this right here, the Ark of the Covenant is located in the head, and this area is located where the heart is supposed to be. This altar is where the feet are supposed to be. So if you overlay the temple, you can see how it fits in there exactly. Okay. Now the Ark of the Covenant in the head is important. We can see this go all the way back into ancient Egypt, and we can also see it in Christianity and temple art. So here is an ancient Egypt version of the spiritual sun. What the spiritual sun is actually the sun that's located in the head, which is your pineal gland. And right here, these represent the thalamus, and this represents the top of the backbone, right here. And you can see this is actually the backbone right here, and I put the spiritual sun on top of it. Now compare the ancient Egypt to the Christianity version of the Ark of the Covenant. Remember, the Ark of the Covenant in the temples is known as what's in the head area, because these temples are actually designed after man. So if we come down here, this is inside an old tomb, and you can see where the spiritual sun is located. And here's a picture you can find on Wikipedia that shows the thalamus, and you can see how it's right on top of the ark, just like what we see right here. So what's being pointed to right here as Yahweh in the human body is actually located in the head where the pineal gland is located. Now I wanted to show you how important sacred geometry is in art, the flower of life, and even more complex versions of it. There are a few strange people out there that have been saying some weird things about sacred geometry. I've noticed saying that sacred geometry is evil and all this kind of stuff. Don't pay attention to those people. They're lost. Sacred geometry is found in all living things, and it comes from just about everything you look at in nature. If you go one step above this particular flower of life symbol right here and you make it a little bit more complex, I've shown it to you before. What you'll see are concentric circles that exist inside here, and that allows you to really take a look at stuff. But this is some sacred geometry that we see right here. And this is cell mitosis, as cells divide and stuff like that. So sacred geometry is really important. Remember, all the temples have to do with man, and it also has to do with the microcosm and the macrocosm. So when we see temple as man, we also understand that that's also the way the macrocosm of the universe is designed as well, and the ancients knew this a long time ago. So I showed you this right here, and you can see that the Ark of the Covenant is located in the head, and you've seen the temple design, and you've seen that also is the same. Now I've shown you some other images as well. What we found that is in Vatican City, for example, this was actually designed, Vatican City was designed after the human body as well. Now remember, Bernini, I believe, was the guy who did the design of this. And what we find in the old cathedrals and the old temples and stuff like this is that the people that put together the artwork they hid things in the images. They hid things in the architecture and in the art itself. Now, when we take a look at Solomon's temple right here, and we zoom in on the area that represents the head, and I want you to notice that we have a cross up here, and that cross is located in the head. I'll show you why that's significant in just a second. But if you take a look right here with Solomon's temple, we can see with an overlay what's being shown here in this design. And that's located in the head, and you can see the human body as it's meant to be laid on top of this, and how the legs follow the buildings, and in between the two legs you have the road that exists. I have another one to show you the area of the head, and if you can see the crucifixion, which is located where the pineal gland is located. And if you'll notice, this is slightly off to the right, but that's because of the way that Google Earth does the shadowing. They always place things, even if you're right on top of it, they always place things a little bit to the right or the left to give it that 3D look. But it was actually be located right here in the head, just like what you see right here. Now I want to show you a couple of new things here. First of all, I wanted to show you how this temple architecture goes all the way back for a long time ago. You guys have probably seen the recent video I put out showing all the similarities between, we have Mithras, the moon and the sun. We have Christ, the sun and the moon. We have Osiris, the sun and the moon. We have Yaldabaoth, the sun and the moon. And we have Yahweh here, or some people call him God. I understand it to be Adam Kadmon, the idea of the universe, the first thing that came into existence, which is also what Christ is called inside Colossians 1:15. This is an old Mithras temple, but I want you to notice the same thing we have going on with this temple as we have going on with Solomon's temple. This area right down here being the porch, this being the body, and this being the altar right up here, which is what we see right here as the altar. This same design is found in temples as we start moving up in the centuries. This is Mithras, but this is more showing you that it's the same thing. Now, another one I wanted to show you real quick was, you guys are probably familiar with the Church of the Gesu. Church of the Gesu. Gesu actually means Jesus. Now this is a Jesuit temple, and when you walk in to the cathedral, and it's the Mother Jesuit Church, this is also where the triumph of the name of Jesus is, and that is what you see right here. You see the sacred geometry that I've used here, and I'm going to go over this video here in a little bit. That's located on the ceiling when you walk in. But let's get back to this particular image here. This is what you see when you walk in, and when you take a look at the floor plan, which I decided to grab, first of all, here's Solomon's temple right here. Now here's something really interesting to notice. The Holy of the Holies, where the Ark of the Covenant is located, is in the head. Okay. The incense altar is where the body is located, where the heart is. You see the porch, the two legs that come down the altar. Now when we take a look at the floor plan for the Church of the Gesu, we can see that what they have done is that what they have incorporated is the same design that we see all over these other temples. The altar, right where this altar is located, that we see right here, that's actually in the head. And you see the incense altar from Solomon's temple is right there, right in the middle of that circle. And you see the width of the arms, and as they come down and as they end right here, we have the same design going on. But this design that we see right here, where the pineal gland is located, is where the altar is located. And you're going to see that in all these temples, the ones that you look at. And the reason that's important is because it's called the Holy of Holies. It's also called the Ark of the Covenant. And so many people believe that the Ark of the Covenant was just this device that the people carried around with them. But they don't realize that there's an esoteric understanding of this as well. And that esoteric understanding of it, if you know your symbolism and your images and these types of things, and you understand that that Ark of the Covenant is located in your head. And your head is actually the winged globe. That winged disc actually represents the head. And we'll go over that in another video. But anyhow, I wanted to show you this particular thing here with the Church of the Gesu. And if we take a look in here, what we see is where that head area is located, is we see something that looks a lot like what I have shown you many times before. This is the lamb that you can barely see right here because this image has been shrinked. This is the lamb, but this is actually the trapezium inside the Orion Nebula. So if we're looking at this as the macrocosm, which this church is full of, especially the triumph of the name of Jesus. So we take a look at this image right here. The trapezium inside the Orion Nebula, that is what is actually located inside the head. And so this area up here, as we approach the end right here, is in the head. And so there we go. There's the Church of the Gesu temple design, and here's what it looks like with man on top of it. And so I'll be adding this to my temple architecture playlist. And you guys take care, and I'll talk to you soon.